Call to order. The February Parks and Recreation meeting is now in session.
It's 7:01.
Item 2, roll call. Can you perform the roll call, Mr. Sharris, please?
Certainly. Wade Pollock,
Here.
Beth Dungisha.
Here.
Anthony DeVincenzo,
Here.
Joe Falcon,
Here.
Peter Lake. Rob Vanicolo.
Here.
Carol Wagner.
Here.
Item 3, a moment of silence. We will say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 4.1, consider approving the agenda. Do we have a motion?
I move. Second.
A motion was made by member Carol
Carol.
and seconded by member Beth. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 All those opposed, the motion carries unanimously. Item 5, public comment for agenda items only. Do we want to keep that for just agenda?
You have
Sorry.
a choice.
Okay,
Sorry.
You have a choice of what you want to do. Typically, we do that. If you want to allow the public to just make their comment and not necessarily have to stay, you
Okay.
can let them go now.
yes, I don't think they should have to suffer through my boring presentation.
Possible scroll down just. Keep up bringing up, but.
There's copies in the back of the room on the table, so you can look at.
Figure out.
Okay.
I don't need.
We and I have.
So.
I'm going to ask that you go to
Yeah.
the podium if you're going to speak, please.
So you have to, state your name and address, please.
Chris Haas, 206 Walnut Street. So the comments I wanted to make actually have to do with an ordinance that the Board of Supervisors will be voting on next Monday. I know you don't have any formal influence over that ordinance, and I noticed that there's nothing here that is directly related to that. So I don't think I can make too much of a public comment, but that's what I was hoping to communicate.
Okay. Now, are you in favor? I'm sorry, are you in favor of what?
Chris, you and I talked a little bit before the meeting. I think because this is the Parks Board, because they also do trails, it would be appropriate to make your comment specifically related about the trail piece.
Okay.
And you could even go ahead and make the comment about the open space.
Okay, great, thank you. My comments, like I mentioned earlier, I know this board doesn't have any formal influence over that ordinance. But what I wanted to say is that with the upcoming ordinance, I think it's a wonderful opportunity to create a trail system that would connect Gable Park to Drexel Lodge Park if the ordinance could be revised in such a way to meet that need. And I think it is a need. It is a need. Just thinking about the neighboring communities that are in that area, how, depending on what structures would actually go there, how traffic would be increased in that area with new development, runoff, so many different concerns that I think if a new trail system was developed that would connect those two trails, in addition to new green space, it would be very beneficial for the community. And that's all I wanted to communicate.
And thank you, Chris. So, yeah, we don't have, we can make recommendations to the Board of Supervisors. And, it's within our purview. And I think everyone here would probably be in favor of doing what you're asking. And so when we're asked to weigh in on this, I think we would have a voice similar to yours. I can't speak for everyone. We would need to vote on that, but I think we're in favor of trails, that's for sure. And that connection is a little more viable than other connections within our community.
Okay, great. Well,
Does anyone else have?
I don't know if you've seen the master plan for trails and greenways. It does specifically mention a potential for a trail down Campus Boulevard. So, at some point, the township had identified that as a possibility, so fingers crossed that it does happen at some point, but.
I did actually see that. And the goals that were listed, at least 3 out of 4 of them, seem very aligned with a trail system that would connect those 2 parks. So you're absolutely right. Yeah. Well, thank you for letting me comment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes? Yes, if you can, I'm sorry, Terry.
Hello, I'm Kelly McCarthy. I live at 3510 Goshen Road. This is pertaining to the Newtown Township Trails and Greenways Meetup Group, which I just wanted to inform folks that it will continue. Our next walk is with Garrett Williamson on March 1st. And we will continue to expand it into other environments beyond Newtown Township. So we're considering alternative names. And if you have any ideas, we were just brainstorming some great ones. Maybe we'll call it All Those Who Wander. But we have over 1,500 members and a very active environment. So just wanted to let you know that that's cooking.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
Item 6.1, consider approving the minutes from January 8th, 2026.
We were not given copies of the minutes.
It was
did.
it was embedded in the.
Yeah, I did read them.
It was embedded in the agenda document. So it's like it's like attachment.
Oh, online? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the email that came through
I do paper.
on the 30th, when it has the link at the bottom, if you
Oh.
click on it, you have to click on that link and then click on another, but it isn't.
Yes, so when, I guess it's Mara that sends us the notification that there's the agenda is available. If you click on the final PDF, is it?
Yeah, it comes from CW Notifications at iCompass is the official one, but if you type in Township of Newtown in your search bar in your email, you'll see it. And then it gives you a couple links at the bottom. There's a confidential final, open final, there's 2 links, and it's both in PDF and web format. You click on the web format, it goes to that iCompass page. And then, but either way, it's embedded in both files, so it is attached, but I can show you before the end of the meeting so I can make it easy for you in the future. I like how they do it. It's very nice that it's always there.
I mean, I typed the thing, so I know what it
Yeah.
says, but
Just-
I'm used to getting a paper copy.
Oh,
Are there 4 of us that have read it or?
yes.
I have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Okay, and a second? Second. Motion was made by member DeVincenzo and seconded by member Lake. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, the motion carries unanimously. Item 7.1, Public Works Update. Mr. Sharretts, please.
Certainly. I'm just going to mention a few things because, first of all, Public Works has participated in some of the things that are going to be on the agenda later. So I'm not going to get into, getting into those things before you bring them up. January was a month that was full of snow, and so that tended to be most of what Public Works spent their time doing. But we still did manage to get out to the parks a handful of times just to check on things. look to see if there was, any damage or anything. We did find, when they were out there, and I honestly don't know how folks managed to do it, but there was some graffiti at Newby Park. So we will not be addressing that until after the weather warms up so that we can address it. But we got a police report as a result of that, and
On the sign or?
we'll be dealing with it. It was actually in one of the culverts over by the Doe Lane entrance to the park. And it was newer, so I don't really know how they did it in the temperature, but they managed to do it. So it was noted. We're gonna take care of getting that cleaned up as soon as the weather breaks. We've checked on all the rest of the parks and made sure everything was okay. It's not as often as we would normally do because of the conditions out there, but we have been doing that. We keep an eye on the trails, but understand we do not plow the trails. Part of the reason for that is that, first of all, it's very difficult to, especially some of the ones that are more the gravel. It's very, very complicated to do that. Keeping on top of the trails once they would be plowed would actually be extremely difficult because of melt and runoff and then refreezing. And because we know we can't get out to them on a daily basis like that and treat them, and we don't want to put melting materials down where there's grass right next to it and trees right next to it. The trails are not maintained for winter weather remediation, and they're left, they're left that way. In some ways, that's actually safer if you're going to choose to walk on them, because you wouldn't have the sense that they're cleared and then come across black ice and some of those kind of things. So that is just a couple things that we've been doing. Again, it's been all snow all the time, but we're still keeping an eye on the public properties and the trails.
All right, so we have a lot. I'll try and get through this. I apologize for last week or last month. We went, a long time. I was going to try and pose like an hour cutoff, 8 o'clock cutoff. Try and get done 45 minutes to an hour. I think we have a lot to cover. So we'll try and get it in. Item 8.1, discussion of possible action on revised Parks and Rec mission statement, goals and objectives. So I had sent out a mission statement with goals and objectives under it that we created 5 years ago or so, and it hasn't been changed. Hey, Tim, can you click on that link under item 8.1? Yeah, presentation 2, please. So, Steve had a meeting last week, I guess it was, or whenever it was, that he has annually. And so this was in the presentation. It kind of tells us what our roles and responsibilities are in a more concise manner. And I think it's enough guidance for us. I don't know that we need to expand it with the goals and objectives underneath of it. I don't know what everyone else's thoughts are. Kind of makes life a little easier on us because we were just thrown together in this pack.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
The bullets hit everything, so if it's, if it's the purpose and the responsibilities all in one, that's as good as it's gonna get probably.
Yeah.
I don't think it can get trimmed down anymore, and if it gets too big, then
Yeah.
people will glaze over if they
Yes,
try to read
yes,
it, so yeah.
Yes.
I mean, and when I put this together, the whole purpose of my putting it together was that we were trying to differentiate between what the different committees were doing. Because I was meeting with all the committees when I did this. So that was the purpose. But if you wanted, there's nothing magical about what I did. It was just to give you some guidelines, and so that everybody else knew kind of what to expect from the committees that they were working with, and working alongside of. So that was the purpose.
I mean, we could ask, so I don't know, member of the public here, so we all know what each other do, and then we're talking to the other committees, but is there any questions you would have? Because ultimately, this is something that would be outward facing then for the public as well. So, right?
It could be. I mean, I didn't create it. for
No, I know
purpose.
that. I'm saying what Wade's talking about though. So is there anything that you would say have questions from what you see up there that are, were any confusing points? Seems pretty, it seems very concise and,
Yeah.
but it also says everything. So I think it's pretty good. So thanks, Steve. Did our job for us. Appreciate it.
I will say I cheated.
Did you use ChatGPT?
I did not. I used the Park and Rec ordinance. And I took the pieces from the shade tree and the trails and added to it.
So you use cut and paste,
I used cut and paste.
but not ChatGPT. Got it, okay. Either way, thank you. Yeah, I don't have anything, Wade. Beth,
All right.
Can we possibly get a hard copy of?
So that's actually in the presentation for tonight. If you click on the link and go,
Okay.
there's another attachment. It's called it's under 8.1. It says presentation 2. If you click that, this will pull up. I actually have a
Thanks.
hard copy of it. Here.
Really, thank you so much.
And also during that meeting, Steve brought up a lot of subjects, but the one important one is that we can't have conversation outside of the meeting, outside of the public eye. And, it's all documented here. So if we meet anywhere, we need to have 3 rather than 4, which 4 would be the quorum. And we really can't be discussing anything that might be voted on or on the agenda. But we can meet. Item 8.2, discussion and possible action on upcoming events. And also I wanted to do here was kind of try and figure out some timeframes for this stuff. Family Fun Day at Drexel Lodge Park is the biggest event that we have annually, Parks and Rec traditionally. And we've had it in spring, we've had it in fall. I'm not sure what this group would prefer. I would like to continue on with that, if everybody is okay with having that. So I just wonder what time frame will be better for that.
Has there been a consistent time frame? You said you've done it before. So
No, there hasn't been.
it's
no.
jumped around. Have you noticed a trend in which ones were better well attended?
They were all attended, it's our biggest event. There were 1,200 people we estimated at the last one, which was more than we hoped for. So,
People were coming from everywhere.
yes, so we're gonna try and do a different kind of advertising for it.
When was the last time? What time of year?
That was, do you remember when, was that fall? That was spring, wasn't it?
That was spring.
Yeah, yes.
A township kind of maintenance schedule, is there a season that works better for you guys? Because I'm assuming there's setup involved from you all too.
There is, and actually, as part of this discussion, I'm taking down notes of when this group is thinking about times that they might want to have something at Drexel Lodge, just even for the sake that I would block out dates for you. There are a number of folks who have been inquiring about, renting the pavilion and having a birthday party and things like that there. We always try to block out any dates that we think that Park and Rec and the other township entities may want to wind up using the park for any reason, so that, you've got full use of the park and everything. I would say as a general rule, Public Works is pretty available to, during the course of the year to support your events. So if you come up with the fall, if you come up with the spring, if it's a summer event, I think we're going to be able to support you with it.
May I suggest, I'm thinking second or third weekend of May. Reason being is that you're increasing your chances of better weather. You're usually out of the worst spring rains at that point. You're before summer where you have a lot of people that are not available because they're traveling off. So that would be what I would recommend. And you avoid, you know, you want to get away from Memorial Day, you want to do for that as well. So that's what I was,
Normally, I would agree with you
don't-
100%. I would not do the second or third week in
Okay.
May this year.
oh,
I believe the
PGA.
PGA
Oh,
is right in that timeframe. And
they stole my ideas, Steve. They were thinking the same way. All right.
And
Good call.
they haven't announced yet, but one of the some of the parking would be right, not at the park, but would be, the transportation would be going by where the park is.
I'm going to the event too, so I probably, that would be good.
So thinking
All right.
along those lines, we have PGA and then we have 4 World Cup games in June and early July, which may mean lots of extra people in the area, which I know is lovely to like invite everyone, but if we're already struggling with the 1,200 that we're getting, inviting an extra, 500 may be a little bit much, so it may
Yeah.
make sense to push it to the fall, to like mid-September or something like that, so we're away from all the A250 stuff and all the events that are coming through.
well,
Would suggest fall as well. The only problem with that is now you're going to run into issues with people, either kids going back to school with sports, or you have college football or the NFL. I don't know when you guys typically have it. I would assume on a weekend or specifically on a Saturday, but I do also think, based off of this being a new board, and that we do have issues with respect to timing of the 250th anniversary, PGA, et cetera, I would suggest fall as well.
Late September? Third
I'd
weekend?
say late September or very early October.
Kids are already, they're back to school enough for enough weeks where maybe the parents are not so stressed out and but before you're getting maybe into too cold weather. I think.
For my work, I tend to hold one of the biggest events in early October, so I know the crowds will come out and the weather tends to be decent then.
Yeah, that works.
it's early October. Is that what we're looking at?
It's somewhere in there, late September, early October.
All right, so the late September would be the 19th, and we're looking at, these are all Saturdays, 19th and 26th.
Mm-hmm.
And October would be the 3rd and the 10th. I don't see any holidays on those dates.
Third?
The 3rd of October?
Like that.
What do you think, everybody?
Is that good for you, George? The 3rd of October?
I believe it should be.
Harvest Fest not till later, right?
Yeah, that's,
It's usually mid.
Yep, I thought so. I was just, I'm
24th.
glad Terry was here. Just checking, just making sure.
October 3rd, 2026.
Okay.
And Beth, you mentioned something at the last meeting. There's some sort of a Parks Day that we were thinking of maybe doing a
Oh,
In September, yeah.
Public Lands Day,
public lands day,
which would be an easy day for doing like volunteer type projects and stuff like that.
which would be like I think it was like the 26th of,
Yeah, that may be,
26th of September, I think you mentioned.
I'd have to look it up. I'll do that right now.
2 weeks in a row, but
And it was one of those, it was just a suggestion of like, if we're going to kind of do a regular volunteer thing,
Right.
if we did one in the spring around Arbor Day, that would be an easy one to do. And of course, my phone is thinking about loading the
Yep.
date, so I'm sorry.
It's all right. I was just thinking, one of the things that we really need to do is to come up with a calendar of all of the events between the things that,
September
trails-
26th, public lands.
Yeah, the trails and greenways, you guys have events and Parks and Rec have them. Shade Tree does, so between the 3 groups, we just want to try to balance out all of our
yes.
events.
So that's public.
Public Lands Day on
Lands
September
Day.
26th.
And that is not something that we have done within Trails and Greenways before, but it is something that
It's an option.
at a
Yeah.
federal level is a very popular thing for parks and state too.
Well, we're only 1 weekend off, so why not then?
And then there was Arbor Day, so that's gonna be on the 24th or 25th. So I guess we'll speak a little bit about that, because George, And Carol and Rob and I met with, John Houseback, how do you say his name?
Hospital, he's the township arbor.
Arbor. See, so, what did you guys think, Rob?
I mean, the walk around, yeah, I mean, you have the list of trees, right?
Mhm. And Carol does too, yeah.
Yeah, so basically we met this morning, it was 20 degrees, at, at the park, at the tavern at Goshen Road and 252. We met there so that John could tell us about the work that that was going to be going on at the tavern, between, pruning and what trees need to be removed because they're very hazardous, couple of them. And, to get an idea of what his ideas, we wanted to know what his ideas were for adding trees to the park, to the tavern area. While leaving the tavern green open as a green. And so that was very informative. So, John gave us a suggestion of, I think we came up with sort of 8 trees, 8 different, we're planting 8 trees. They're going to be fairly substantial trees, hopefully. And came up with his suggestions of trees that would fit the time period, fit the, the nativity of the area, and part of the history of the area. So we came up with a list of 8 different trees that we could plant, once we find them and finance them. But we want to, so we have a list of, as I said, 8 different trees, that we would like to, we'd probably like to vote on it, right?
Should we vote on it?
Or should we wait until we find them?
Well, we probably have time to do a formal vote at the next meeting. I mean, Arbor Day is Arbor Day, so we know when it is going to be. You'll probably want to make a decision as to whether you want to try to accomplish something like that on Friday, which is the Arbor Day itself, or Saturday, which is when most people do those kind of plantings. Again, Public Works is going to support this group as they do it with with some of the prep work and moving things around and all that. I should mention that Kathy Cavalier, who's the president of the Historic Society, was also there at the meeting and was able to contribute with some of the thoughts on the trees, and I think was also in agreement with with the selections that the group along with John came up with for what the tree selections were. And again, one of the reasons why it was thought it would be a good place to focus on this year, when the township took on the tavern, one of the first things we did was we did a survey of all of the trees that were on site there, because they were now our trees, and we wanted to know what their condition was and what we needed to do. So the township arborist did that, gave a very detailed report back to the township as to what we had to deal with, and there are some that we're going to be fertilizing. There's some that we're going to be pruning and doing maintenance work on. And then there's some that just need to come down. There's not really a question. He evaluated them carefully. We don't take lightly taking trees down, but sometimes it's necessary. And so these plantings are all intended to replace trees that are coming down, and they're going in basically the location as near as possible to where some of them are coming.
And you said 8 trees, is it 8, like just 8 individual trees, or 8 species that are going to be, and multiple trees of each species?
We're going to probably be doing 8 total.
Okay.
For the one day, which is a good number.
And you said
But we had, like, last month, it was brought up that with all the work going on, maybe we should have a different plan for Arbor Day, but the work that they're doing, I mean, some of it is starting tomorrow. So there's some of the work should be done or almost done, and whatever they're doing should not affect what we're thinking of for Arbor Day. So
Yeah.
it should be fine whether they're, doing more fertilizing or pruning or stuff. It wouldn't affect things. And the trees that have to come down, everybody will be glad to know it's none of the big sycamores. The big sycamores are in great shape. and they're fine. It was a couple of the smaller, mulberries and things that are very diseased and, falling apart, so. So yeah, the things that, it's not going, whatever they're doing there is not going to affect what we do for Arbor Day.
Do we think, that the Friday or the Saturday would be better?
When you've done plantings in the past, did a lot of members of the public come out?
Yes, but this is a little different. What's involved with plantings on this one, Rob, with?
I would say probably get them in there on a Friday and then whatever else. I mean, like for the Arbor Day, there is mulching. I mean, I don't know if that's gonna be done ahead of time before that or something we could incorporate with the Arbor Day is the mulching and stuff like that. Is that gonna be? I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I would think a lot of what people are gonna do on Arbor Day, similar to what you've done on some of the street tree design. I mean, sometimes when Rob and the folks have done some of the street tree plantings, it was almost like a day of preparation on Friday, and then the Saturday could be a little more on the ceremonial side. Some of the touch-up work, finishing work, and follow up and those kind of things. So it could probably run in a similar way. Some of the prep could be done leading up to it, and then the day that more people are available to come out could be the Saturday.
Now, is there, what other things do the township have planned for that location for that day?
So fortunately, it's earlier in the season. I know that more of the Historical Society activity really kicks in May and June. So in one way, where Arbor Day falls, it's a very good day to have an event out there. And I think it'll be beneficial because it'll bring people to the tavern that maybe haven't seen the historic site. And it'll bring some of the folks that are interested in the history of the tavern and the Historic Society folks that maybe aren't normally working on a park and rec or on a tree project like this, and kind of bring them all together.
Typically with the trails and greenways, something like that, maybe when Terry would be like, I'll lead a walk that day. So like if you planted them on Friday and like you wanted to do a little like education or something like that about the trees, have people put mulch down. If Terry and the meetup group is available to do a walk, like, you kind of get the audience built in and then they walk the Goshen Trail. So you kind of get a 2-for-1 out of that. I don't know if that works with everyone's schedule or what anyone would be interested in, but like that's a lot of times how we've done some of the walks that we've done with the trails.
That would be cool. We didn't ask, will the tavern be open that day? Will they be opening it for?
Yeah, and we'll confirm with the Historical Society, but I certainly envision the tavern would be open that day. I'm sure they could get a volunteer to open it up and give tours on it for anybody that would come and participate in Arbor Day. And the fact that the Historic Society had an interest in almost, adopting one of the trees that we're going to plant and sponsor it in a way, I think is going to have some of the Historic Society folks really come out and be part of it then. So yeah, I'm confident that somebody will be available to have the tavern open and give tours.
And with a lot of times with Arbor Day, a lot of people want to help plant a tree, but we've got allegedly 8 trees. So we might go through and get 7 of them done the day before and just leave 1 that people can help to finish up.
And these are the kind of things that, as long as this group is comfortable with the direction that Arbor Day was going, you still got a couple months before it. And you're, there's a game plan that you've laid out as to what it would look like, and pulling in some of the other groups, the Historic Society, the Trails Walk group and some of those things. I think you're accomplishing what you wanted to accomplish for February in laying it out and having your framework.
Yeah, and as John mentioned, he said, we'll get together again after the snow melts.
Yes, once we see grass again.
It's been almost 2 weeks and it hasn't gone anywhere yet. But we'll get back in there when the ground thaws out a little bit and pick where we think we might want to put these trees. So, Yeah, we want to put trees as close to the original, where its predecessor was. Because we sort of like the way that they were set out, so we want to sort of continue that, but, yeah, we've got, oh, for the list of trees, where is it? Rob, who has it?
Real quick,
I left my paper at home, okay,
I hope you could read my scratch.
sure.
Black gum, that's when I was.
Oh, that's the one you're missing. Common names, oh, great. London Plain, those are the big sycamores. We thought we might, put in a new one, to, keep because they're so traditional in this area. We figured we ought to, put another one in for the next generation. There's really cool, I forget which one it was, whatever. There was an elm, an American elm we were thinking of putting in. Princeton elm, okay. Black gum, which is an amazing tree. It's got really good fall color. One of the trees that we're going to be losing is, it's near the tavern. It sort of shades the back door of the tavern. But it was sugar maple and the whole center of it is dead. So it's not a good thing to be hanging out under. So that's one of the trees that has to go. Now, this black gum that we're putting in, Nyssa sylvatica is its botanic name, and it has a really brilliant red fall color. So it's going to be really neat. I remember I was always had a fall vacation at the shore, and everything was green when I went to the shore for 2 weeks, but I'm coming home, all the trees, as you're going through like the Pine Barrens area, all the trees that were showing some color, those red leaves popping up, that's the Nyssa. So it has a really good fall color. The Kentucky coffee tree, which is one of our natives, there's one called Espresso that John suggested. There's a couple of oaks. There's a bur oak, which is our native. Has one of our largest acorns of our native oaks. There's the chinkapin oak, which is, these are all in the white oak family because red oaks are very susceptible to bacterial leaf scorch. Chinkapin oak is a really cool oak, Quercus muhlenbergii, white oak, Quercus alba, and one of the latest one that we thought to put in, since the tavern apparently in its heyday would make its own cider. And so it was mentioned that the area around the tavern might have had a lot of apple trees. So we're putting in a token apple tree. Yeah, so that's one of the things we thought might be a cool thing to add. So those are our 8 trees.
I can't make any promises yet. I have to check with my schedule at work, but if we did, like I said, kind of most of the plantings on Friday, which sounds like you may be leaning towards, and leaving like one for Saturday. If I can get off, I'm happy to do like education type stuff. I've done tree stuff, just as a like add-on for that, whether like I have a tree ID activity, like how you key out a tree, like looking at the leaf and the buds and all of that stuff. So I have
Cool.
that type of activity if you're interested in it. It adds another layer to it, but I need to check my schedule at work. I think I have to work my day off, so hopefully I can get an adjusted flu day and get that day off.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
If everybody is interested in something like that.
Well, we're always trying to inform people about trees and about the parks that we have, so whatever we can do to tell somebody something that they don't know already, it's always a good thing.
And there's even another activity, adopt a tree. I don't know if you've ever come across this. It's on Project Learning Tree, where basically you have kids go out and make observations about the tree. So they could be making observations about existing trees or ones that we're planting, where they're like measuring the buds, they're looking at the leaves, they're looking for the critters that are crawling on the tree. They might not get a tape measure. So it's like, okay, how many hands around is that trunk? How tall do you think, how many Georges do you think that tree is tall and stuff like that? And you do a little worksheet, and it's something where they can then come back and observe it during different seasons. Mm-hmm. So it's encouraging them to come back and see it again and keep looking at it closer.
Cool.
Yeah.
But so we will do Friday prep day, which I believe is going to be more equipment kind of related. So I don't know that we're gonna need a whole lot of hands-on Friday. I'll be available, Peter will probably be available, and Carol, and I guess Rob's gonna be there because he's leading us. And then Saturday, we would do this ceremonial type of effort. And whatever else we can, a walk with Terry perhaps. So then Yoga in the Park series is something that Sheila O'Sullivan-Feeney runs for us. It's a really cool program. It's done at Drexel Lodge Park for the most part. It's done under the pavilion. Yoga in the Circle donates their time. An instructor comes.
The studio.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
yes, I'm so,
Yep.
yes. So if she's looking into that, I just, just wanted to tell everybody that's on our plate as well. And that's like a weekday afternoon. Shouldn't impact us. And then the celebration, movies in the park. We had talked last year about possibly doing movies in the park. And we also talked about possibly doing a patriotic type of activity for the 250th anniversary. I'm assuming that would take place in the summer. So again, these are just trying to get time frames. And if anyone can think about these, and we'll talk more in detail next month. Item 8.3, Tim, can you pull up item 8.3, shared swing 1 slide? And so this was recommended from one of our residents.
8.3, picture 1, please.
And it's a parent-child swing. I've seen them, there's one in Avalon at one of the playgrounds in Avalon. It's pretty cool. The resident is a little bit shy, so I'll just tell you his name, Leonard Altieri.
Such an introvert.
So this is the foot pedal, and then item, the slide, the shared swing 2 slide, Tim, is a better picture of the swing itself. If you could blow that up.
So the parent stands on the foot side, holds the bars, the kid goes in front, and the parent uses his momentum to push it.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool thing. There's a, he did send a video of his wife with him. Well, and I looked into it. These can actually affix to the existing equipment we have. We would just take down one of those lift type seats that we have at 3 of our playgrounds and replace it with one of these. In all 3 or 1, 2, whatever we might decide. I don't know what the cost would be. Our normal process for something like this would be to ask George to look in the star system and kind of come up with something equivalent and give us a price. And then we would review that, make a decision on whether we recommend to the Board of Supervisors to install it. This is just the beginning. So I guess if everyone's okay, we'll ask George to try and get us a price. With you, Anthony?
2,200.
22.
No, seriously, they're all over the internet. 2,200, 2,300, 2,400, 3,400. That one must be made of plutonium or something. But yeah, just, I mean,
Okay, it's a rough,
Yeah.
rough estimate.
yeah,
So
rough. Yeah.
George is required to buy things in the STAR system, I think it's called. So it's a state of
Co-stars is,
CoStar.
yeah.
So I guess we're asking you, George, to officially go out and look. And
Sure, I can get a proposal
Okay.
and, I'll look at it in comparison with what we've got budgeted for, for the park maintenance.
Okay.
And playground equipment. I'll get a proposal for the next meeting
All right.
and we can have you review that and see if it's something you want to pursue.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on that? Item 8.4, discussion and possible action on improvements to Drexel Lodge Park Trail, possible Eagle Scout project. So Beth and I walked the park, Drexel Lodge Park, a few weeks ago, and she had talked about the trail, and I've been on it. It's not marked very well, and it's.
I think one of the posts has even been moved off trail, so it's now pointing, so I suggested blazing it, doing the paint stripes, just that, I don't know if I know there was recently some issues with graffiti there, so I don't know if that would encourage the graffiti, but I figured the stripes, they can't, a lot of trails just have the blazes on them and they can't be moved. So if, a post falls over, whatever, you're still gonna know where to go. And that trail, because there's not a whole lot of understory in a lot of it, it can be like, where do I go? Can I just wander through the whole woods or whatever? So the blazes would be an easy way to kind of address that, and they just need to be repainted probably once a year or so.
So would the initial layout of that be a project for somebody, or is that something that you would give the township direction on where you wanted to install them and we would do it?
So typically, I know the trail's not very long, but typically, like if you're hiking like the Appalachian Trail, the general rule is if you're standing at a blaze, you're able to see the next one down the line. It could be a football field away, or it could be 30 feet away, depending on how much stuff there is. So I figured it could be a distance away. So it would just be kind of marking it out. And, we can, usually it's just like a 6x2 rectangle or something like that. So you just have like a cutout and just spray paint it. And so pretty simple. It's just identifying those trees. You stand at one tree, like, okay, how far can I see? So maybe two people going out and kind of scoping it out. It shouldn't be a huge.
I can put some survey flagging on it, do that,
Yeah.
because I have the trail map, so I could just go walk it one day, and
And
I take my kids there every once in a while and do it anyway, so I could bring some of my survey tape and just mark the trees.
Mhm.
So that way you know which ones to hit.
Well, and we could certainly go with you or a couple of you if you
Yeah,
wanted
we
to
do.
do that. And
Yeah.
and then we could initially mark it and then go back and do it formally,
In the spring,
of course.
or after the snow melts.
Yeah.
It maybe.
Whichever comes first.
Yeah.
After it leaves out. That way you can kind of see like, oh, I didn't notice that little spindly tree.
Yeah, no,
but then-
that's actually a very good point. So maybe push it into like late spring at that
Like
point
late-
where
yeah.
it's full out. No, that's a great point, yeah.
Sure. We can do that.
If we do it in the snow now, the problem is there's so much of it, it's gonna melt down. The blazes are gonna be about 3 feet higher than we probably want them to be. But yeah, that works. That's a good point.
And George, just as a suggestion, if any Eagle Scouts come forward looking for a project, maybe, they can take a look at the trail and see how they can make improvements on that trail
Maybe
specifically.
Noah could incorporate.
Yeah, because there is an Eagle Scout who's developing a project for the trail back there. It wasn't focused on wayfinding or this. It's focused more on the kind of plants you find back there and those things. But I can see if he wants to incorporate it, or a lot of the time what'll happen is a scout will do a project and the next scout might want to build on that project that was just done. So I will absolutely keep in mind with the scouts.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Item 8.5 is just, I think Beth brought up what Public Lands Day on September 26th, we all now know about, something like that. Do we want to do maintenance on, we're going to do an Arbor Day planning every year. Do we want to do something twice a year or 4 times a year? For tree maintenance, tree planting? We do need to do some maintenance on these trees as well if we keep putting them in.
I defer to Rob on that question.
Yeah, he's-
How, well,
he's got a
how
lot of work
often,
here.
how often do you think it would be needed, honestly? For the parks, maybe?
Obviously, the small trees have to be gone through and looked at, and any cross branches, whatever, just, as they're growing, prune them out. It all depends what time we have with putting 3 things together. You know what I mean? With the, finding something to do, like a oddball weekend or something like that, maybe set something.
Do we know roughly how many township-owned trees on the park specifically or existing trail systems? Do we have a count so that we could do the math and figure out the labor production on how long it would actually take? Because that may dictate how often we're going to have to do it.
Yeah, we do keep an inventory of the more recently planted trees, the smaller ones.
Yeah.
I would say between some of the major locations recently, you're probably in the 200 range.
So not something that could be an accomplished if it was only one weekend once a year.
Well, they're small.
A location you could.
Takes all day just to do Gable Park,
Yeah.
Yeah,
the weeds and stuff that come up in the fences.
yeah, I think our biggest targets would be Gable and Brookside. As far as the trees go,
And the Goshen Trail.
the Goshen Trail, right? And
Put a
they-
bunch in.
Drexel Lodge now to some extent.
Could you do a program where you rotated every year? So you did like half of them in one year, did maybe two events a year where you accomplish half of the goal, and the next year you alternate, rotate, or is that not giving the trees enough attention where they would need it on a yearly basis? I don't know the answer to that, but
They might need it on a yearly basis. Every other year, I don't think would be.
not
No,
enough.
he's saying,
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying.
That's
So
what he-
I don't know the answer to the question. I'm just asking, like, just thinking about,
And
Yeah,
some plants might
basically
not need
report.
any help at all, and others might need, oh, we gotta weed this, we gotta restake the cage around it, or there's there are. I think we should do, one Saturday in, late spring or something, and one Saturday in the fall, where even if whether we pull in people from the outside, or if it's just people within the committee,
Mhm.
just going around and.
all right, so we'll do Arbor Day in May, or, is it May or April?
Arbor Day's the end of April.
April 24th.
And then we'll do the National Public Works or Public Lands Day, September 26th, maintenance wise, for this year only, and then, we'll perhaps grow on that. Well, I don't want to bite off more than we can chew,
Well,
pull people off.
We never decided the date for September for that Family Fun Day. We never said it. No, I know, but then we were saying about public land day, we never actually decided it, I
Oh,
thought.
yeah, so it was, I think we decided
Are we good on it?
Family Fun Day. I was gonna start getting people lined up
Okay.
for that.
All right.
So,
I just didn't want it to overlap with this because you're saying about the public lanes. Okay, that works.
is that too much in 2 weeks?
No.
2 events?
Keep from getting bored.
All right, so we'll target September 26th for the maintenance of trees, Public Land Day. Item 8.6 is we run a program with the library. We don't have to do a lot. We just show up, more or less. We come up with ideas. Share them with Miss Gabby and Miss Angela who run the youth program at the library. They kind of disband in the early summer. And we kind of pick up with them, work with them to bring that youth group out to the parks and stuff. So that normally occurs in June. And it's normally on Tuesdays. So again, people that work don't have to go there. I go there, Peter will go there, and if you're off, you can come, Carol. So I'm hoping that maybe we could do one of those events on a Saturday in May. The Stardy's tree seed planting event. Pretty cool event. So, we can try and narrow down a date. I have to talk to Steve Bastardi anyway, so I'll talk to him about a date. Item 8.7, discussion on 5 to 10 year plans. So, but maybe we just, can we just shelve this until next month? Is that okay?
Yeah, you can just take an action to table it.
Okay. Question. So, is everybody okay if we table item 8.7 through 8.10?
With 8.9, because that is coming up in the spring and that might require coordination.
Okay,
Is that something that needs to be acted on more quickly because of the timeline of that?
all right, so then that's a good point. Can we table 8.7, 8.8, and 8.10? Your motion,
Motion,
and a second? Motion was made by member Di Vincenzo and seconded by member Beth, because I can't say.
Dun-
It's okay.
Dunchista?
Dunchisha.
Dunchisa.
Yeah.
Member Dunchisa. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Those items are tabled. So moving down to item 8.9, discussion and possible PGA activity for township youth or senior citizens. So, my thoughts were that we just come up with an idea, give it to the library youth program, or we give it to Richie now, or we do something ourselves. So there's gonna be, a lot of activity here. There's gonna be a lot of important people here with a lot of knowledge. They're in our neighborhood. They're using our roads, This is something they could give back to us. And I don't know what this could be.
Well, so.
When is it to start with?
So the PGA is May 11th through the 17th. But then they typically have like a week leading up where it's like a lot of things going on because they have all the press crew and all that. So there's a lot of traffic things going on. There's a lot of things you could do with that. So we could do very cheap, very easy with like Amazon purchases type of setup of like mini chip and putt type things. If we wanted to go more grandiose at like, again, they probably would raise the prices on it, but between $300 and $600 an hour is like the mobile golf simulators, where they pull it in on a truck. So you could do something even as high as that. But generally speaking, with golf, you could have little kids clubs in a little basket thing where you're chipping in. They have those really simple like felt rollout mini putt things. And I brought them to like trade shows and stuff, even conferences and things for people to do, and everybody loves it. And yeah.
Kind of along those same lines, I think I heard that you like disc golf,
Yes.
which I know isn't the
Yeah.
same as regular golf,
Right.
but it may be an alternative to
Yeah.
that, and you've set up like a.
Yeah, down on the lower field, we
Yep.
set it up.
So it could be, you have a little chip thing, you have the disc golf and just kind of golf themed, but more family friendly and different types.
I may be able to get my company to sponsor golf ball giveaways, like sleeves of golf balls, like, because I kind of do that stuff anyways. I gotta see what the cost, but I might be able to figure that out.
And I have a disc golf basket at
Oh,
home.
oh, you do?
Yeah.
We used hula hoops and flag.
Yeah.
And it was, what was it, like 98 degrees out that day? And nobody.
It was a little warm, yes.
Kids, but I think he'll let me borrow it.
Thank you.
Isn't there some sort of a mini golf course or something
There,
near?
I don't know if it's still open, but
Drexel
Old
Park?
Masters had one.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's still,
Yeah.
I mean, the
I don't
golf
think-
course is
I
still
don't
open,
think
but
it
I'm not
is.
sure if the mini golf is.
Yeah,
I have one. Someone.
I remember seeing the sign. I've never
Yeah.
been there, so.
Well, this is something to consider, I hate to throw it out and it's gonna be May and, there's not a lot of time, but I guess if we can come up with something and anybody wants to present it next month, we'll vote on it. And I don't know if there's gonna be enough time, to be honest.
May I ask what day you would envision maybe doing something like this?
So I would say that heavily depends upon how big it's gonna be.
Not big.
No, meaning, I know, I'm saying between the stuff I was talking about, just because of the coordination setup, but you would either do it the weekend prior, as you're leading up to it, it's a kind of whet the appetite kind of thing to the PGA event, so that you're not competing with it, you're not competing with the traffic, all that stuff. That's what I would think would be the best situation, because it's not like we're actually gonna be able to compete with the attention of what they're potentially gonna do over there anyways. So that's what I would say, the weekend prior to the event, so that would be the
Eighth and
5th
ninth.
or the 6th, or what was it?
May 3rd,
That's it, yeah.
second, and third,
Yeah, second weekend of May, correct.
first weekend.
Second.
Or the 9th and 10th.
Well,
Well, the
yeah,
9th and 10th, they're gonna be having things out there,
they are,
and-
okay.
and that's Mother's Day, so I don't,
Ooh.
Ooh.
I'm just trying to keep you out of trouble with all the mothers.
Yeah.
Steve, you're doing a good job today.
I think if you did it on the 3rd, they'll be doing things the week, like they'll be opening up for sales and stuff like that week with the, what do they call it, merchandise tent and things
Yeah.
like that. So you may, I think that opens like Thursday or Friday of that following week. So might be a nice kickoff, and you could probably talk to somebody at the PGA and might even get a small sponsorship, to help you with, and,
Okay.
like you could have a lot of fun with it.
Okay,
And then if you did it with the old wooden clubs, you could do your American 250 stuff at the same
oh, there you go.
time.
You know, someone who's. who
Anthony, do
refurbishes
you
wooden
wanna,
clubs.
do you wanna, give me a call, or, if you're thinking of stuff, you wanna,
Yeah,
if you want me to do anything?
yeah, I'll think of some stuff and then I think we'll pick the exact location. It sounds like Drexel Lodge Park would probably be a good location.
Or
for it,
even
enough
even
flat
maybe
space.
their facility, if that's.
They're not gonna allow
They're
you
not
on
gonna.
the facility.
Okay.
I'm sorry. As much as I think that would be nice.
When there-
You know how long I've been trying to step foot on that place? I don't think they're gonna let, what we're doing
Would there
there.
be soccer games or anything that May at Drexel Lodge?
Well, and this is why I'm gonna
Yes.
I'm gonna block the date out.
Yeah.
And again, we let the soccer association, lacrosse and all the sports teams know when we're gonna have an event that they're not gonna be able to utilize it. And they schedule around that.
So I guess the question is, if there was something that like normally they'd be using it at that point, could we use one of the schools, like the grounds of the school like Culbertson, where they have a bigger flat area in the parking lot that can hold lots of people? They're close to Aronimink. I didn't know if we're allowed to do stuff like that. I know we're kind of getting away from a park, but kind of a park sponsored event at a, Public
Yeah,
place.
we can approach the school district about that possibility. We've shared space with the school district in the past for different things, so, I mean, that may work.
But in the meantime, I'll hold the date at Drexel, just so you've got that available to you.
Yeah, I got some ideas. I'll write them up for you and send them over.
Yeah, just, if you need me to do anything, just let me know, I'm free all day, and I can run out and do
'Cause,
whatever.
I mean, it's a little bit.
So item 8.11 is just, we need to start thinking about the playground that's gonna be at Greer Park. And, the theme it might be, so that park is on the Pennsylvania Hospital's farm property. So we could do a farm theme. It's the park itself is named after an old fire chief in town, so we could do a fire thing. And there's also possibilities of natural play type of stuff. We could just use the shape of the park to do some stuff that is not going to be dangerous or costly. Give kids an idea of something that they.
Wait,
I have one question that is kind of new here is, with the parks, do we have any frozen bodies of water that are adjacent to public or on public land in our township, like small ponds, things like that? Is Drexel Lodge
Well,
because of the.
Drexel Lodge has an area, and so does Greer Park.
If we put out, as a township, put out any safety notifications, people stay away from it. There's actually, unfortunately, a firefighter died on the river today. And like, there's been a lot of posts going out from like local communities and things about if there are like, especially public lands like state parks and things, even small township parks, like making people know, like, even if it looks safe, especially in like weird streams, stuff like that, it can melt and move really fast. And so I know it's pertaining to the parks, why I brought it up, but I mean, ultimately, that would be the worst case scenario in our small town, if something like that happens. So I don't know if the township could put something out, safety post, something like that, but.
yeah, at Haverford College, we always had to put signs up around the pond. We used to be able to skate on it, but now they, and I was the one that measured the thickness of the ice for skating. But now they just don't let anybody on.
Yeah, but Drexel, that's a good point, Drexel with the dam there too, and like I could see somebody easily going and trying to walk across it because it looks like it's a solid thing of ice, but water's moving underneath and that could be
I
horrible,
think
but.
Drexel Lodge is too solid. Looks like it's pretty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we can take a look and,
okay.
George and I will look
Thanks.
into what that would look like.
Good idea.
Are they working on Greer Park
I'm
yet?
just
Did they
touch
start
base.
that yet or just one?
Within the month.
It's gonna
Are they?
be in June. We'll
I mean, that's a
continue to
lot of,
discuss.
that's a lot of people.
Yes.
George shoveled off right now.
So the last thing we have is February newsletter. I don't know what we could put in there. Is the tavern tree planting the possibility of, that we're planning that?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, I can do something up for that.
okay.
It has to-
Oh, yeah, you
has to
probably
be-
have more knowledge.
It has to be in by the 10th.
Yes, yes, okay.
I do believe you have a handout for the
Yes.
schedule. I would make note, just so that you're aware, starting in March, they've moved the date back 7 days earlier that
Oh,
they
yeah.
moved those articles. So please just kind of be aware of that as you're thinking about your articles. And part of that's because they're going to be doing more, they're going to do more to help us make sure that there's good pictures and things like that with those articles and those kind of things.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of time between our meeting
Yeah,
and the newsletter.
that's why I'm bringing it to your attention now, even for March,
Yeah,
because you'll probably want to be planning at least a month ahead.
Does anyone